Well, it must be a Wednesday night, and I tell you, man, Vince, it seems like it's been a year since I've seen you, man. How you doing?
I am doing really, 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 really well. I must admit, things are okay in my world. How about in yours?
Okay, well, for those out there, I'm Charles Morse. This is the original Coach Carter, and we come your way every Wednesday right here at www.youthcentralsports. We're also live on Twitter and Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, hit us up, send us some questions, But right now, I got to find out, Vince, for the past 2 weeks, he's been missing in action. I was a little worried about him because normally when I reach out to him, he says something, but he went into stealth mode, silent mode. But then he did say, "Man, I've been under the weather. I've been sick." Did you catch the flu? What happened?
I'm not exactly sure what I work with a group of kids that really stay stuffed up and all that kind of stuff, and we work directly in their faces, and they work directly in mine. So I think it's a possibility that I may have been suffering from the flu. Plus, we were doing our tournament run, so time was crunched. And plus, I wasn't feeling well. It was just a crazy time.
Well, well. First of all, you got to give us an update on the tournament, and normally, you give us our little weather report because if you don't know, Vince is in Nashville, Tennessee. So, give us the update on the boys basketball tournament.
We were able to get to the state Final Four. We played against the three-time state champion.
Oh,
And
wait a minute. So you made it to the Final Four?
Made to the Final Four.
Oh, wow.
And we lost
okay.
42-46 against the three-time state champion. We had two outstanding games. The game before that, which was against Oakland, a real talented team. We were able to beat them in overtime. Come back the next night and play Memphis East, a team that Penny Hardaway used to coach before we took the University of Memphis job. They got a young man there, James Winston. This boy's about 7 feet, heck of a ball player. But we were able to hold them under their normal average. They didn't score but 46 points, and unfortunately we lost. But we were tremendous game, great effort from the kids. Heartbroken that we didn't win, get a chance to go to the championship, but a great season for us. I'm excited. This is our second time in 3 years that we've had a chance to go to the state. So I'm elated on that side of the coin. Very excited about it. So we're very upbeat right now. I'm recovered from all of those emotions from having lost the game and losing five seniors, and just wrapping all that around my head. That now I'm focused, refocused, ready to take on the next challenge.
Well, I remember last time you made it to the what they call the Elite Eight, but you made it to the Final Four. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we got. It was a tremendous game. I tell you, the kid was never so proud of them. Beach. A couple of them had been there when we wore, so we had some experience in. But we had as always, a brand new group of kids, and they just put it all out they put it all out. I mean, there was no one gave us a to get there. They thought they'd blow us out, and we had a couple opportunities to win that game. So we come away from that, not a moral victory, but we came away with 100% effort. And as in most cases, you got a consensus here that it changes things, but I'm very satisfied with what we did, short of winning.
All right. Well,
it's a great time of year. It's basketball time. I mean, my head is. After I got over that, my head is now glued into the NIT, the NCAA. I'm watching men's. I'm watching ladies. I'm watching anybody bounce at the basketball.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on from Major League Baseball starting up because they played overseas today. Cause I was wondering, like, I turned on ESPN, I'm like, why is there a baseball game on? But they started the season overseas today, And I later, because I just ended up turning the channel, like, why is there a baseball game on? But then I later found out that they were televising the game that, overseas, and the season started overseas today. So between baseball, between getting ready for the NFL draft,
Which, as a
the
matter of fact,
NIT, the March Madness of the whole thing, and all the other stuff that's been going on. So there's a lot. And the college scandal of the parents
yep.
and the money and all of
Yep.
that, and the funny thing of hearing how and I wanted to ask you about that, and I don't know if you heard in detail about the college scandal. Like, there's a coach
Yes.
I was just seeing, there's an assistant coach from one of the major colleges that's in the tournament. The assistant coach has been suspended because he's been part of that scandal. And also there was a college kid who got in being on the row team, team that rows, whatever they
He was
call
on the
it.
team, but he wasn't on the team.
Right, and never rode a day in his life, her, or,
Yeah.
whoever it was. So it's been crazy.
Well, the NFL, one of the things is that we just finished the SEC tournament here prior to the start of the NCAA, and also the NFL draft will take place here in Nashville in a few weeks. So Nashville is going to be popping again with the NFL people coming to town and putting the draft. The draft is going to take place here, so that's going to be exciting.
Remember a few weeks ago when we did the story with the Wisconsin quarterback?
Yes.
Remember? But that
Yes.
the Wisconsin quarterback was leaving.
Yes.
He's going to Florida State.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to Florida State.
And then there's another quarterback that's leaving, that's going to Miami.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one went to UCF and another one's going to Miami. A lot of I don't know. I guess that's good for the game. I'm not sure. I really have questions about all that movement. I really question that sometimes, because one of the things that kids don't get a chance to settle in. They don't understand commitment. They don't understand what it takes to get to the ultimate level that they want to. You can't just jump around because it doesn't fit well. Now, there are circumstances sometimes that kind of motivate that. The guy from Alabama left because he didn't think he was going to get any playing time. Well, that's a judgment call, but still, I mean, Tubby Smith had this same issue, which is one of the reasons I think he's no longer at University of Memphis, about kids transferring because they're not happy. It's one thing to be not happy because maybe you're not being treated right, but you're not happy because you're not getting any playing time. But that's on you. That's on you. Playing time is earned. And if you aren't getting out there getting it done, you can't fault the coach because you don't get on the floor. It's about what you do.
But now, Vince, it's funny that you bring that up, because I wanted to talk about this, but we can talk about it now. Part of the summit for this year, which I don't know if you saw the flyer, but you already know that you're the headliner of the summit.
I discovered it. Yeah.
Did you see the flyer?
I did. I've seen it.
Oh, okay. Well,
please see that I'm a part of it, so I'm excited.
Right, but the point of the summit is that topic in what you're talking about, and that is that trying to educate the transformation, middle school, high school, college, and that whole thing now, and where we are, trying to talk to the parents, have them better understand what they role, be a parent more of than a fan, because one of the things that you always hit on from time to time, from show to show, is how it's so different with parents now, and how you have to interact with them now differently than it was a few years ago. But that whole thing of dealing with the mindset of today's athlete, and I know this for a fact because I was part of it. I've seen it. That whole thing where you come from a place where you used to playing, now you got to fight for your position, and then you also got to understand the system itself, the coaches, their philosophy, and it starts out over here, but then it ends up over here. But how do you deal with that? So that's one of the reasons that I think the summit is so important, because everything that you just said.
Well, it is an education process that needs to take place from not only the athlete but the parent. And there's a misunderstanding that parents have input into a style of play, minutes played, who plays and stuff, and they do not. There's no situation I'm aware of where a parent gets to say that. You make a decision of what school you want to send your kid to or what program your kid is in. You have two decisions. You can leave them there or you can remove them. Decisions made on the floor is based on what a coach thinks is best for the team. And this is with my philosophy, what's best for the team. And performance. The difference between player A and player B is simply how they perform, how they practice, how they perform in the minutes in the game, or if they, or however that goes. Excuse me, the attitude, excuse me, and all of those factors go into it. It's not a popularity contest. It doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, what you did last year. It's about what you're doing now. So parents need to be educated themselves and understand that the program is not set up for them. It's by no parents playing any ball. So I find it a very interesting conversation to have. I look forward to engaging them with that. There are things parents can do to ensure that their son has the best experience he can on whatever team he's playing on. Don't make it a difficult time for him. Make it the best time he can have, and encourage him as well as the whole entire team will be one of the topics I will discuss.
And now, when I was in college, I mean, the game or the sport itself has always been a major part of our lives, in the sense that when you love the game, it doesn't matter whether football, baseball, basketball, soccer, you're swimming, whatever it is that you love. And now it's on a whole nother level in the sense of its popularity, the expectations and all of that, and the magnitude of what sports is now. So knowing how it was when I was in college, and I think the hardest thing for them to understand, you love the game is the game, but it's a business. And that coach is there, he got kids, he got a mortgage payments, he got a wife, and he want to keep his job. And the thing is that when you go there, it's a job. I don't care what nobody say. It's a job. And you think that, okay, well, practice is supposed to start whatever it is. No. The day you hit campus, if school started in August, you in the weight room in August, you running in August, you doing all these things that is part of this. So it's August, September, October, November, December, January, February, and it could go into March. That's how many months out of the year that you working, in addition to you going to classes and you trying to get your education and all this other stuff. So it is a job, and you have to be disciplined. And I think that's why the summit is so important, because these kids, some of them will do well, but others, it's a different world.
It really hasn't changed that much. It's the people in it. The process is still the same. The ultimate goal is still the same. What has changed is the mechanism for getting there. What has been allowed to take place that's never been a part of what we do. We're allowing administrations and authority figures are allowing people into the complexity of the game and making it more difficult than it has to be. It's always about the best on the floor, trying to put your best group of kids on the floor to get the ultimate goal. That's never changed. What has changed is how that process takes place. I contend this. One of my pet peeves is a lot of kids enjoy the game, they like the game, but they don't love the game. They don't really love the game. They don't really invest in the game. They're not students of the game. They like the game. They like playing it. But they don't want to work at it. They don't really want to get down and put in the necessary time. And then there's the adversity of the game. Because what happens, it's about playing time, it's about team chemistry, it's about winning, it's about losing, and it's about putting forth that 100% effort. The things we challenge our kids with, we want to do what 1% will do that the other 99% won't do. That's the challenge. We're going to do what 99% of the programs will stop we're going to be the 1% that keeps going doing that extra. That's the message out there. And I ran across a situation the other day on Facebook, I'm sorry, on Twitter, where a coach has 5, 7 seniors who are starting, but he has an outstanding athlete who's not started, but is getting playing time. And this kid obviously is much better than the 7 seniors, but he's starting his seniors. The coach broke into tears during a post-game interview. I think they won the state, if I'm not mistaken. And he was talking about how this young man has never said a word. He's never complained. Whatever coach has asked him to do, he's done it. He's come off the bench. He's gone in and contributed, put up the big numbers. They asked the kid about it. He said, listen, my job is to help this team win. But that's not the caveat. The caveat was what the coach said about the parents. The parents have never said a word, never met with him, never asked him a question. The only thing Dad said to him was, Coach, do what you got to do. Do what's best for the team. And he broke into a tear saying, this is what every athlete and every parent should be. And he's 100% correct. Parents see their kids as an individual. Coach sees them as a team. And that's the big difference. You have to see it as a team. You have to see your kid fitting into the team. He's not the star. Even though he may be the top scorer, he may be doing it, but he's a part of a team. And it's a team effort no matter how you look at it. So that's a subject that needs to be discussed. That's a mindset that we have to get to and allowing them to be a part of I know in the high school level, I know sometimes in the collegiate level, but most in high school, they're beginning to let parents have too much of a say. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, because I've been a parent too. They got too much say as to what goes on and how it goes on. This coach has been assigned or hired or whatever to be the coach. He makes a decision that he thinks is best for the team. If he's unfair to your child, that's a different story. But if he's coaching his team and he is doing what he thinks is best for the team, that's his job.
Right.
Not only the fact he has home responsibility, even before he gets to that, that's his job, is to find the best situation and do it the best way he can. Now, can you disagree with him? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I mean, I got a friend of mine who's never lost a basketball game. He said, from the stands, I'm 100%. I get every call right, every I make it all right. He said, but I'm not down there on the floor. And so it's different, and I think we have not experienced it. Sometimes people are living through their kids so much so that they don't allow the kid to enjoy the experience. They're overshadowing the kid and enjoying it more than the kid is. Sometimes they want more than what the kid is willing to give. I've seen a couple of kids who parents were just enraged because he wasn't playing. The kid didn't care. He really didn't care. When we sat him down and asked him, he was like, I'm good. Everything's good for me. Mom and Dad's having a fit. So we understand. I mean, it's hard to teach that. It's hard to try to get into that. I look forward to engaging in that conversation because I've been blessed now to be both a parent and a coach. So I kind of get it. I kind of get it. And I've been a sibling of a player. So I really think that I have not 100% insight. Now, I don't have that, but I do have some insight into what this really looks like.
Well, looking forward to the summit because based on everything you just said, it is so much needed 10 times over and some,
right?
Especially where we are now, because you being in the environment that you're in, seeing what you see. And then the other thing is that to try to educate the athlete and the parent of the whole process of just being able to fight through just everyday life, because everything is not going to be peaches and roses. So when the obstacle comes, are you just going to get angry and give up? Or are you going to work harder and try to fight for the position and be in the place where you want to play, but you got to do what you need to do in the sense of trying to improve yourself. And that's on all levels, and it doesn't matter what sport it is. And a lot of times the challenge mostly is just your attitude, because a lot of times once a coach sees what he sees in the sense of your attitude and your work ethic, then you've overcome a lot, because he will recognize that. Because I've shared this with you, Vince. When I was in college, what my coach said to 2 other players that was much better than my roommate, and he said to them, look, you are more athletic. You can jump higher. Yes, you have more athletic ability. But this guy shows up every day early. He works his butt off. He does not have your skill level, but he is outworking everybody in here, and he deserves to play. And it was just, and once he said that, and you knew it because you knew he didn't have their skill level. And he even said, because he was my roommate, he said, Charles, I worked my butt off. I worked to become what I am. And then he would even say, he said, man, I wish I can do the stuff that I see you guys do. I wish I could jump like you guys. I wish I could do this, I can do that. But he was good enough to be on the floor. So when I say that, you know what I mean. He was good enough to be on the floor.
Well, that's coaching. And I think sometimes people misunderstand the concept of what's trying to be done on the floor. Is putting 5 players out. Maybe sometimes, a lot of times, your starting 5s are not always your best athlete, but it's your basketball players with the highest IQ. Those people who understand their roles and execute their roles at a very high level. And you put that together, and you learn as you coach and as you build your team. You learn your parts and pieces and where they fit and how they go together. People on the outside may not understand that. They may say, well, I think number 2 should be playing all the time. Well, number 2 doesn't come to practice, doesn't know the plays. That's not his strong point. We're playing a zone. He's a man-to-man type guy. So I got to pick and choose where I put it. And a lot of times that's not discussed. That's not understood. It's just that he should be playing. No, he should not. There's a place for him. There's a time for him. And that's a coach's decision. That's not anybody else's decision. And so it's tough sometimes to explain that to parents. It's tough sometimes to explain that to players. But I'll tell you this, and I believe this in my heart. Every player, if he's honest, he understands what happens on his team, why he plays and why he does not play. He knows. I know in our program, there's never a question as to what's going on with you because we tell you at least at the end of every week, if not every day. Here's where you are. Here's what you've done well today. Here's what you need to improve on. Here's a review of what we talked about last week. You've gotten better. You're not getting better. Here's what you're going to face. Never, and I believe every athlete who has ever competed at any level, he or she knows. They may not share it with their parents. They may not be honest with themselves, but they know. They know exactly what they know why this guy's playing in front of them. They know exactly why. Because they know what they put forth every day. They know what practice is like. There's so much that goes into whether or not he gets on the floor. How well does he understand the game plan? How well does he execute? What free throw percent is he? What field goal percentage is he? A defensive ball player? All those factors that coaches have to look at before they actually put that kid on the floor. So I don't think people appreciate the success of a basketball team, for instance, and I'll use ourselves, looking at what we went through, how far we got this year, and we're so excited about that. But there's a lot of work that went into that, a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of time face-to-face, one-on-one, a lot of disappointments, a lot of hard conversations, a lot of challenges in order to get there. So then you get and perform at that. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and it's very involved, it's very detailed, and it's very personal. And I strongly believe that relationship building is the key to that. So, I mean, and I look forward to having those kinds of conversations because I know that it works.
Well, here, looking forward to this coming up in July, and based on everything that you just said, and some, because there's some things that we haven't talked about, but coming up, and like I said, you are the headliner, and I'm working on some things, and we will talk more about it, in the upcoming weeks, but looking forward to it.
I am too. I always love them. It's something I love. We're talking about something that is very dear to my heart. That I'm a continuous student, and so I've had the experience of to really see both sides of this coin. I look forward to that discussion.
All right, cool. Now, man, there's so much that's been going on, Vince. Where you want to start? You want to start with the NBA, the NCAA, the NIT? Where you want to start?
I think we should start with the investigation that's taking place out there right now not only the college scandal, the scholarship scandal, but still that coaches and bribery situation. Like for instance, Chuck Person from Auburn is being indicted. He's going to plead guilty for bribery. They got some other guys that they're looking at. There's still that investigation is still going on. Self is still being looked at. It's not being 100% that's gone away. That is an ongoing situation. They're taking their time and slowly walking through getting those people. Then, and that's just on the bribery side of getting kids on the athletic side. Here we have on the academic side a major scandal that has been going on for we don't know how long, and we don't know how many people involved. As you alluded to earlier, kids getting scholarships and never show up and play. And one falsifying pictures, not only background information, but headshots of different kids as they send this in. The interesting thing is you got coaches involved, you got administrators involved. This was a huge scandal of the rich and famous being able to buy. We always talk about money buying your way through. Where here people were buying their way through. What's interesting to me will be one of the things that's pending now is as they nail down the actual students, what will the schools do? Some schools are saying they're going to expel the kid once they identify how he or she got there. Others have not come to a decision. So that's going to be interesting. Another interesting fact, some of the kids had no idea what was taking place. They didn't know that their parents had afforded them this opportunity. A couple of them actually did because they had conversations with this person on the other end. This is crazy. This is what upsets the apple cart so much, because we go to the privilege conversation again. It's about athletics, man. It's about competition. It's about life. It's about winning and losing. It's just that simple. But here we're for people with money and influence, allowing the opportunity to influence the outcome of a situation. Not fair, obviously. I mean, so we got to find some way to it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah, really. Real quick, say hi to Donnell, out there in Vegas. I want him to come on and talk about his show as well, because, man, I told you, man, I mean, you want to talk about some real sports guys, man. Man, if you go to his page on Facebook, you will see, man. I mean, they hit on everything. So, want him to come on the show to talk. But to talk about what you're talking about, Vince, it's not surprising. It's sad, but it's not surprising, because whatever that arrogance is, and that privilege, and how they feel, and they already have it good. But what do you say to that? I mean, the whole mindset, and just I don't know. It's just like it's like you just have this corrupt.
It's criminal. It's
spirit.
Corrupt. It's nothing you can say. There's no justification for it, in my mind. Is that the situation is clear. If you didn't think your kid was capable of getting that particular kind of education, okay, then you need to send your kid someplace else. I mean, I would want the best for my child as well. I would like them to get the best education that money could buy, and that's the amount of money that I have, and the fact that they have much more than I have, and able to influence that, does not tip the scale for equality. So what do you say to the other kid who many of these kids, and many of these kids are not that intelligent. They're not very good students. Okay, they're not, and that's why sometimes they need this extra kick so their parents feel. But what do you say to the kid who is a good student, who's fighting very hard, who may not have the money to get in, but has the academic skills and deserves that opportunity, but he can't simply because he doesn't have enough money? That's not how this thing is supposed to work. It's not supposed to work that way. So we're talking about getting the best minds, the best IQ, the best individual kids, performance-wise, based on the test scores or grades or whatever you look at it, not enhanced. Not here they were cheating on the SATs and having somebody take it, it was a network of situation where they're changing answers and all that. How do you compete with that?
Yeah, they were talking about somebody that flew in to take the test and with the phony ID and
Yes. Well, not only that, you had someone, you had proctors who had this guy in the back that once you took the test, they gave they gave it to him and he corrected all the answers and then they passed it in. So it looks like you actually did that, but he actually went in and changed. Then they had a test. One time they sent one to the kid, a dummy test for her to fill out. So she actually thought what got sent in was what she took, and it wasn't. It was what someone else took. Well, I mean, this thing was elaborate. This wasn't a mom and pop operation. I made sellers made millions of dollars, and he was the first one to turn them in. Guess why? Because financially, he said he may go to prison for a while, but he got money put away. I hope he did anyway. He's gonna walk away from this thing scot-free. At the end, I mean, at the end, he's going to jail. Let me talk to you about money. Look what they're offering to Robert Kraft, caught red-handed down in Florida, in their solicitation, and now we got a plea deal. Are you serious? That makes no sense to me. How do you justify that? And then you want to talk about why being fair. It's hard to explain to some of these young kids the principle of integrity and character you're trying to teach them on and off the court as a person when they see this as their example. That's tough.
Wow. Well, again, it's sad. You're really not surprised, but it's almost like, man, it's just like, really? Does it ever end? No. Will something else be? Other stuff is going to be found out, and you just can't go, wow, I really don't believe it. Really, man, it's just like it just never ends.
Well, it's a lot. Yeah, it does not end. Unfortunately, it is a part of life. It is what life is. It's what goes on, and still, these are the challenges you face when you try to raise people of integrity and character. You have to fight those issues. And they're looking and saying, well, I can go that route. Well, you could, but the outcome is not going to be as good because the likelihood you're going to get caught. There is no shortcut for hard work. There is no shortcut for hard work. For getting it done, you got to put your time in, and that's what you keep telling kids every day. You've got to put in your time. I believe you got to love it. If you don't love it, then you can't give it all it deserves and it demands. You have to love it. You have to want it that bad. And that's what you hope you have in the kids that you have in your various programs.
Wow. Yeah. Have you been watching the combine and do you have your own mock NFL draft coming up?
I'll be honest, when it came, I really kind of got lost in that a little bit. I got caught up in this basketball, so I really hadn't paid much attention to that. I know there's an awful lot of conversation and jockeying going on out there already and moving people around to see, but I'm not up to speed. I'll try to catch up here in the next couple of weeks. I'm so focused on basketball that
right. Blake Bortles is gone, and guess who just signed big money in Jacksonville? Lordy have mercy. Oh my goodness.
Who was that?
Who used to be the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles? Who was the backup in Philly?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I wasn't a Philly fan.
Who won the Super Bowl for Philly? Who was the MVP?
Wait a minute. What they have on there? They have an eagle or a cowboy, a star on their helmet? Which one they have? Okay, if they didn't have a star, then I really don't care. They had a star on there, I can tell you.
Hey, somebody looking at me right now like, I know he know who you talking about.
Not unless he had a star on his
You
helmet.
should see the look I'm getting right now, because somebody looking at me like, star, no star, you better know who he talking about.
If you didn't have a star on his helmet, I don't know who it is. I have no idea who it is. A lot of swapping going on. There's an awful lot of swapping going on.
50 million guaranteed.
Crazy money. The
Yeah.
young kid, the quarterback from Miami, was it Turning Hill?
Right.
He's coming to Tennessee. He's coming to
Oh yeah,
Tennessee.
yeah, yeah,
Who would
yeah,
have thought?
yeah, yeah. I saw
I
that.
never would have believed that. I was shocked by that. I heard a group of people talking about that the other day, and I was like, "Are you sure about that?" They said, "Absolutely." The NFL, from the little bit that I'm able to catch up on right now, I kind of like that they're trying to get parity out there. That Cleveland is trying to really get in the mix. The Raiders have got to make some adjustments out there. It's going to be real interesting to see how the Patriots come about this year. I really didn't think they would win this past year.
Right.
I really have my doubts going into this next year. I really do. But once again, they surprised everybody by being. I thought sure Kansas City had though, and I'm
Yeah.
still
Well,
holding the city.
I mean, sports is so funny, Vince. As you know, we can sit and talk because with that bogus call against the Saints, I think the Saints would have definitely given them a better games than the Rams. The quarterback was in la la land. I don't know where he was, but he was definitely a no show. Then the running back, he had a bad knee. He, you know, he was hurt. So on and so forth, and the list goes on and on. So it kind of played out for the Patriots and everything, but. This coming season should be probably the most interesting that I can think of in some years because there's been a lot of
Yeah,
moving around.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
A lot of high. I know. I know. It appears as though most of the teams are looking at their weaknesses and trying to strengthen them up. And noticing the Cowboys, they're doing a lot on the wide receiver area and the defensive side of the ball, which is where I didn't think they needed as much help on the defensive side. You can always sure it up, but I thought they're spending an awful lot of time on the offensive side of the ball. And that side, not on the wide receiver, which is where I think they probably need some help and sure up a couple of other spots. And I know other NFL teams are doing the same thing, trying to fill those spots but it's a lot of veteran ball players moving around, which was kind of surprising to me, which could, as you indicated, make this season even more interesting because there could be some sense of parity to some degree out there. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the Raiders,
oh yeah, yeah.
giving them
Well, I was going to bring them up next.
to move some people around. Cleveland's trying to make some drastic changes there so that they can compete better. Detroit's got to make a move or two because some of these teams didn't do that bad last year. You could tell they were missing a player here or there. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. The NBA is going to have the same opportunity this summer with
Right.
all of this free agent money that's going to be out there on the table. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely insane the amount of money they're going to be throwing around because, if you can recall, this year coming in, a lot of one-year contracts were proposed because everybody's waiting. Because the free agent market this summer is going to be there's going to be so much talent out there. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a feeding frenzy. It's going to be very similar to what you're seeing in the NFL out there.
Oh yeah. I've been dying to ask you this question. Who is your sleeper in the NCAA tournament? Who is your sleeper?
Oh, that's a toughie for me, right? I'm a Carolina guy, so I'm going with my Tar Heels.
No, no,
As
no, 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 no,
wait,
no.
wait
No,
a minute.
no, no, no. I'm
Everybody,
talking about your sleeper team. I mean, we already know about the
that is my sleeper
powerhouses,
team
but I'm
because
talking about your
nobody
sleeper
talked
team.
about.
Huh?
Nobody gave us a chance. They're picking the Dukes of the world. They're picking Gonzagas of the world. They're picking Michigan State of the world, and all of that. And I'm happy for them. But my sleeper, which is always them Tar Heels, they coming along.
Well,
Because I tell you who might be surprised, being the biggest surprise out there. People challenge. I think is Gonzaga.
right. No, no, no. No, no, no. What I mean by your sleeper team, I'm not talking about, well, let me re-ask the question then. I'm not talking
Okay.
about the sleeper team that in reference that might win it, but the sleeper team that might knock off somebody.
Ah, man, there's so many of those. I saw. Uh, I was watching one tonight earlier. I was hoping this North Dakota got by North Carolina Central, which I thought would have been a great opportunity for them to get into there uh, to 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 create some of that opportunity. I I'm still looking. I mean, there's so many
Somebody,
opportunities.
somebody that's gonna mess up the whole bracket. Somebody's just gonna
Yeah,
mess up everything.
well, that
You know,
happens every
hey,
year.
hey,
It's hard to
um,
predict, but you
look
got to
out for
look
that
at
team,
UCF.
Buffalo. Look out for
Well, you
Buffalo.
got Buffalo. You know, people count them out, but UCF is got if they get by VCU, they got some. They got a good look down the road there. I mean, it's just a long shot, which they all are. I'm liking UCF to surprise somebody and upset somebody because of what the way they've come on the last part of the season, and I'm very more familiar with them than most, but it could be a Buffalo. It could. I mean, it's so many uh, possibilities out there because you know your top side of the brackets are your favorites. They should do well. That's gonna be it's gonna get clogged up there. But on the bottom, the twos, threes, and fours, and on down that way, there are some surprises waiting. But I don't have one right now.
Okay, well, I'm 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 trying to look at the brackets here because there was another team, except I don't remember who it is, but I remember Buffalo, and there was one other team. I think they had only lost like maybe 3 games all season long. But there's
Well,
another
Arizona
team.
State's going to be playing Buffalo. Arizona State just beat St. Mary's. Oh no, St. John's, and so they're going to be playing Buffalo. And Arizona
Oh,
could.
did you see in the NIT where Harvard beat Georgetown?
No, I hadn't seen it. I was wondering about that. I was in hopes that Georgetown is, in my estimation, it had a pretty darn good season. And maybe not NCAA's type season, but I mean they've been playing well. I'm kind of surprised that they lost that. I thought they might have won that. Alabama got beat by Norfolk State, and Alabama was number one in the NIT, ranked number one. They got knocked out by Norfolk State, which
Oh,
could cost
oh,
which could cost
hey,
Avery his.
I got a sleeper for you.
All right,
Tennessee.
that's not really a
Tennessee.
sleeper,
Hey,
but
look out for Tennessee and look out for Auburn.
now Auburn, maybe Tennessee. Well, yeah, you could be. Yeah, because Tennessee has played some inspired basketball. I tell you what, one thing I love about what they do is they play hard. Those kids really. Now Bruce Pearl's guys have come along with the distraction that they got with Chuck Person being indicted by the FBI for his bribery situation. They still were able to stay focused and play hard and come through and win some big games. Such was the case as Tennessee. Tennessee had a couple of setbacks, but they really have come back really strong. So that, that's in the realm of possibility because they play hard. I love the way they play. I mean, they really get after it. Somebody had mentioned Florida, and I'm like, I'm not sure about Florida. Uh, but what I can tell you, having just gone through that, it's preparation. It's about the not. I don't call it luck, but it's about who's the best prepared and who can make the quickest adjustment.
Right.
But that's what's going to determine it. So really, when you look, what I look at personally, when these guys get to these tournaments, they call them an upset, and maybe your expectation is they would not have won, or they would win, or whatever. But to get to the 64 is a feat all by itself.
Right.
For you to be there and get in, I mean, you expected to win. I mean, yeah, you got these guys going up against Duke. It's going to be tough, but it's not impossible. But it's tough. It's going to be, they're a top ranked team. Iona, Carolina's got Iona. They should beat them, but it could go the other way if they don't pay attention and handle their business. So that's what makes it interesting to me. But I think you made two good points. I can go along with that.
Yeah, and then Michigan. I mean, Michigan State is always tough because they always play a tough schedule during the regular season because they don't back away from anybody.
Yeah, they're playing. See, and people are underestimating Gonzaga. Gonzaga, they want to say that Gonzaga
Oh,
is soft.
I'm
They're
looking
not.
for Gonzaga to be in the Final Four.
Gonzaga, now people are talking about Kentucky. Kentucky got out to well, they had a tough start, a mediocre start. They fell deep for a minute. All of a sudden, they come back strong. They're rolling real strong. You know, they're a possibility. It's so many good teams out there. And here's something I think that's to look at too. The number of teams that are senior driven or not 1 year wonders, but kids who got 2 and 3 years in the program. You're finding a lot of those are your top flight schools. Okay, like a Gonzaga. Those kids, you don't have any one and dones in Gonzaga. They don't have as many in Kentucky this year, which I think has really kind of changed the way you talk about Michigan State. You talk about Tennessee. Or you talk about Auburn. These kids have been in 2 and 3 years, and I really have always believed that's the key. Duke to me has some of the best individual players, but I don't think they play well as a team. That could come back and bite them. But right now, their individual players are outplaying almost everybody else. Now it's going to be different when they get to the dance. I 100% believe that. But I'm not. You know, it's difficult doesn't mean they won't get it done, because they got great individual players. But what your teams, to me, are the ones that generally do better. So we'll see.
Oh, okay. I mean, got your Tar Heels.
Tar Heels, you know, they play good ball.
Well, no. Give me your Final Four.
The way I look at it is Carolina's in there, Michigan State, Gonzaga, possibly Kentucky. And I'm not even sure that's possible. I didn't look at the bracket.
No, okay. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to go on a limb, okay, for the words coming out of my mouth. What if I say Duke don't make it to the Final Four?
Well, there's been some conversation, and one of the I did not get a chance to hear all of it today, but one of the guys said that there was a talking head that was talking about Duke is ripe for an upset. One of the number one teams to be upset. They are ripe for an upset. I do think it's possible because let's be honest. As I said earlier, they have probably the best individual player in Zion Williams. I got to give it to the kid. The kid is probably one of the most exciting and ready players out there. Cam Reddish, RJ, and all of those guys, but they're individuals. Team play could hurt them. Now it has to be proven, but team play can really hurt them. So it would not be totally unrealistic, that they could not make it. But the chances are the way everybody looks at it, and you kind of got to go with them for right now, until somebody proves different. But I could believe that they couldn't make it. I could buy into that.
Right.
Not simply because I don't like them. I don't want it to be that way. But I mean, just looking at it, because of so much individual play. Now, certainly when Zion's, he makes a big difference when he's there. But here's the challenge, and this is the challenge for all of those teams. You come out of your conferences, and now you're meeting different styles of play that you may not have seen before. In the ACC, they've all seen each other. They played 1 or 2 non-conference games, but now you're going to get to see play against teams and styles that you haven't seen at all. Different skill levels, and so that's the challenge. That's where the coaching comes in. That's where team preparation and IQ comes in, which really makes this very interesting.
Okay.
So I'm saying that's a possibility.
Oh, all right.
I really am. I'm not because I'm not a Duke fan, but just because they're right fight for it.
You know, there are quite a few people that's picking North Carolina to win this.
I know the prognosticators on the television side, most of them are going with Duke, which I understand that, but some of the other guys are saying that Carolina is built to do that. And see, Carolina is getting two players who have not played all year. They got a 6'7" wing that hadn't played all year long because he's injured. He's coming back. He's going to be ready for the tournament. They got another big guy. He's coming back. So they could be ready. I heard Roy talk about it the other day. They're going to take it one game at a time. First challenge is Iona. I mean, they got a good shot at it. A lot of people are saying, well, you got to get past Duke. Well, let's see what happens. I'm picking them. I'm rolling with them.
Real quick, we can go back to the NCAA. We talked about the fact that your boy hadn't played since he, and actually, you know what, I heard them talk about him. They brought up some interesting point for Carmelo and why he's not playing, and I heard a couple of guys brought up some interesting points about why he's not playing, and then the fact that of course, what we talked about, the fact that he hasn't evolved. His mindset is still he's that guy. So when you go to Oklahoma, you go to Houston, and they tell you no, then that tells you a lot, along with one of your homeboys. And so the whole theory of, well, if you can't reinvent yourself, and then this team may want you, or you could go play for this team, but then he also could be a coach killer, and then what he brings to the locker room and other madness and other stuff. So they brought out some interesting points why, some other teams wouldn't be interested in him, is what he brings to the locker room and his mindset, and
what he does not.
He won't reinvent himself.
Every athlete that you can think of who's played past his prime has had to do that. Has had to accept different roles, reinvent what he brings to the table, and Carmelo has not done that. Michael did it. You can go right on down the line. They all had to make these various adjustments in order to compete and contribute. And you look at Dirk Nowitzki, he just, he had to find another way to do what he do well. Dwayne Wade has had to come up with another way to do that. Vince Carter had to come up with another way to do that. If these athletes and others like that can do that, I don't understand why Carmelo can't play no defense. He's not going to reinvent himself on that side of the ball. That's not. I don't care what nobody says. I'll argue anybody down. He's not. He'll have to reinvent himself on the offensive side of the ball, and maybe pick a better attitude in the locker room. I'll give him a shot at that. Defensively, it's done. He could never been able to play no defense. I don't even think when he was in elementary school he could play defense.
LeBron and the Lakers.
Excuse me, Laker.
That whole thing, because they was making a thing out of him, especially when I heard Stephen Smith talk about the fact that he didn't like what Walt Frazier said about him sitting on the side of the bench, by himself, which was true. So why I'm not quite sure why you would have a problem with Walt Frazier saying what he said, because
not only Walt said it, Worthy said it, James Worthy said it, 2 or 3 other athletes have said it. So it wasn't just Walt. Now Walt was very critical of him, but so were the others.
Right. So I don't know, whether or not he's not used to being in that role or whatever that is, but
yeah, right.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, he's not going to make the playoffs this year.
He sure is not.
So, with that being said, it's just like,
Mhm.
well, yeah. But then, was he
Yeah,
really
nah,
expecting to make the playoff this year?
yeah, they were. They weren't. No, no, no. Here's what. Go back for a minute, because you got
Okay.
several things in. You got several things in play here. Number one, if you remember what they said, they're going to just come in this year. We're going to put a product on the floor. We know our time is next year. And even when LeBron signed and all the 1 year deals they did, they understood it. Then all of a sudden, they decided, that we need to win this year. So that's when they go after Anthony, which was to me was a very bad decision. Was not handled very well, and you hurt yourself. Now you got it. Now here's a symptomatic problem. Now they got a problem with Walton because LeBron's not happy. Now they talk. Now Magic is under fire for poor decision making because LeBron's not happy. He's not performing at the highest level. You went in understanding that he didn't have anything to work with, and everybody said they were okay. So then they want to change gears. Now you want to drop the fault on Walton to the point that they're talking about possibly dismissing Walton. I think that would be a travesty. Okay, because Ty Lue had a hard time coaching Cleveland, even though they were winning because they were playing LeBron type basketball. They didn't give him a chance. He was relieved to some respect when LeBron left. He can now play his style of play. Walton can't play his style of basketball because LeBron has to have the ball in his hand. He changes things. So Jenny Buss, now I don't know where Jenny stands. She's the reason that Lonzo Ball is on the Lakers because nobody wanted him but her. So I mean, you got all kind of dynamics going on with the Lakers, and I hate to hear it, but there are a lot of it they're following and putting the onus of it on my guy Magic Johnson, who I'm a big fan of Magic, but I think Magic may have been a little bit overzealous in some of his activity. I think they had a good game plan. Stay with the game plan, let it work out. Like the Knicks. The Knicks said, we're going to bring Fizdale in. We're going to try to build something for long term. We're going to take it in steps. That remains to be seen if that's exactly how it's going to play. But at least that was the mindset, and they seem to be sticking with that. The Lakers want to change gears all of a sudden. We're going to bring in somebody right now. And then trade half the team away? Well, okay. But there's no guarantee you're going to win. And you only got one basketball. You bring Anthony, a young man from the Pelicans. He got to have the ball in his hand because he's scoring 30-some points a game. LeBron want the ball in his hand. Rondo got to have his ball. He ain't but one basketball.
Right.
So
it's
the debacle out there is blowing up.
Well, it's his attitude now. I mean, because you can see it. You can see his body language and all this other stuff now. So he's in a different place.
Charles, let me ask you a question. What have you heard of LeBron in the last 2 weeks? What have you heard more of LeBron? Of him producing this $1 million run or the basketball team winning on the floor?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Executive producer Tim Tebow going to be the host. But what did they say? Who face they put on there? They've been advertising that now for 2 weeks. You heard more about than you heard about the Lakers trying to win a basketball game.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I know that little Laker Nation mad with me. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. We all know if things don't go his way, we're going to have a problem. I mean, I really like what he does off the basketball court. I think he's done some fabulous stuff. But what he does on the basketball court to me sometimes is disgusting.
Well, you hear some say that he's difficult because he changed the dynamic of the team. And so
True.
he can be difficult to play with.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean,
I think that's well. If you watch the game, you can tell that when the ball, Lakers were before he got there. All of the concept of the Lakers was a lot of ball movement. The ball moved around. They got good shots or whatever they took. When the ball gets to LeBron in his hand, everything just stops. It just it comes to a halt, and then that slows everything down. So you got players like Ingram and Kuzma and these guys. These are high flyers. They're on the move. You got to stop and wait till LeBron make up his mind what he want to do. That's maybe in a different setting that might happen, but this team is not going to work. And I think that's what happened to Cleveland. One of the reasons they struggled the way they did too.
Yeah, well, we all know supposedly Walton is gone. He won't be back next year because that's not the coach that they want. Again,
yeah, I don't think that.
A coach killer.
Yeah, I agree.
So be interesting to see, what happens. Well, I guess the whole key to the Lakers would be Anthony Davis. They're talking about Kawhi going to the Clippers, so it'd be interesting to see what free agency will come play with LeBron.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how people change, because there was a comment before about LeBron being traded to the Clippers. And that would be interesting. LeBron and Doc Rivers, that would be actually, I'd buy popcorn for that one, because that would be hilarious. to see the two of them come together, because you talking about headbutting.
But wait a minute. Do you know how do you know how that would mess with his ego if he gets traded from the Lakers? And
I don't think it's going to bother him as much, because he's still in L.A. That was the whole point. We get to L.A. He's in L.A. That's LeBron's bottom line, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but I just think it doesn't matter if he played for a high school team. As long as he's in L.A., he can set up shop and run other. So going to L.A., going to Clippers to him would be a plus. It wouldn't that, even if he was in, I don't know about Sacramento, that might be too far away, but the fact that he could be centrally located in L.A., I think was the most crucial part of the trade, more so than basketball. I mean, basketball played a part in it, but it was really about his after basketball, about his other business interests. Because since he's been there, he's got he's got a documentary that's out. He's got a film that's coming out, and now he has this new program. That's all been done since he's been there.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I don't know, going to the Clippers, I don't even know if he'd recognize the difference, because he lived the same place. Just put on a different jersey, play in the same arena. Just put on a different jersey. He wouldn't know the difference. He probably wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Well, I mean, just like you said, just like the NFL offseason, the NBA offseason is the next 2 seasons is going to be like wham, bow, wow.
Blow it. It is going to confuse a lot of people and surprise the stink out of most of us, because there's going to be some movement out there on that basketball side going to blow your mind. You can see it coming. You can already see some of it starting to take shape, and football's all doing that. So you're right. The next 2 seasons are going to be unbelievable. You're going to be shocked. You're not going to recognize some of these teams because they're going to look so different. Speaking of that, what do you think of your Orlando Magic? They're trying to win a game or 2 down there.
You know what, Vince? They have shocked me. They've been playing some pretty good ball in the last, I guess since the All-Star break. They've been playing some pretty good ball. And
once again, I think it's a testimony to team basketball. I mean, they got a couple of good players, but they don't have that quote-unquote star player, but they are playing so well together, allowing that coach the opportunity to really get out there and coach his team, which I think is critical. I tip my hat, because I really didn't think the Magic were going to play that well. But look at Brooklyn. Brooklyn has had a couple of real good nights. So has New Jersey. So you know that shift in the East and West, what they're talking about, you're starting to see some of that play, which makes for interesting basketball. It makes for very interesting basketball, I think, and I think that's the ultimate that I think the league is after. We don't we're talking about entertaining you, but it's be very competitive. The Wizards, not the Wizards, Golden State the other night, fighting to play well, win a game or something. All that stuff is good. It's good for viewership, good for the league, keeps people interested.
Danelle said it's all bad in Lakerland.
Yeah, Danelle, and it's gonna get worse than Lakerland.
Yeah, well, and actually, you know what, Vince? I did think I actually thought they was going to make the playoff early on, but I just thought they would just lose in like the first round. But I didn't think they would miss the playoffs. But
if I'm not mistaken, I've been all season long. I started out saying they're not gonna make the playoffs. Everybody's, oh, you crazy? They got LeBron. I said they're not gonna make the playoffs. And and then you know, even though he went down, he got hurt a couple. He went down for a few weeks, and I don't care if he stayed healthy, they wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah. Well,
that was just my prediction.
Yeah, well, the West is a different beast than the East. That is for sure.
That is, you got that right. And I think some people were surprised what's out there on the West. And they thought that the East is much more competitive. You got some parity over there, but it's rough out there. It's rough out there in the West.
Yeah, San Antonio been playing pretty well too.
Yes, they have. But that's a testimony to me to Pop. You know, if everybody counted Pop out, but Pop took his time and put his people in the right place and kept sold them on playing a particular kind of basketball, and that's what they're doing, and it's paying off for them. They're playing like a Pop team, you know. And who they got a star? I don't think they really have what we call a star player, but they got some good players, and they're really playing well. They're really playing really darn. They're playing Pop ball is what they're doing.
Yeah. So, well, you know, I'm looking forward to the playoffs. I'm looking forward to the March Madness. I'm looking forward to NIT. I'm looking forward to the women's game.
Me too.
So,
I'm kind of interested.
It'd be interesting to see.
I'll be glued to the TV for the next 3 or 4 days. I mean, I don't know that I can leave.
Tomorrow we'll see how many. Oh man, I mean, because you're gonna see some tears. You may see some upsets, and somebody gonna mess up somebody's bracket.
But what I like about that, and I know my team could possibly be one of those that happens to as well, but that's just being a part of the basketball world, if you will. And just at this high school level, you tend to appreciate what most people call an upset. You appreciate, because what you know in that upset was somebody was believing and working to their butts off, working as hard as they could, they believing that I can go out here and do this, and that's a testimony to that, and I celebrate that. Not so much that it's upset, but this underdog or the one.
But that's what sports about, Vince.
That's what it's for. That's
what sports is all about right there. That's why I get so ticked off at this college basketball crap, how they do what they do, because it's all about it's let them go out and play. You know, they vote on this, vote on that, and you know, and all this other stuff. The game is meant to be played on the field, not by somebody sitting around some table voting on all that. You know, it's
one thing I do
that's about money.
I like to see the NCAA adopt some of the principles that the NIT is discussing. Number one, I think they should be playing quarters. If you want to get, we're talking about mimicking the game at all levels, I think they should be playing quarters. I like that they widen the lane and they move the three-point line back. That to me, the widening the lane is interesting. I really like that, widening the lane. The three-point line I can care less about. But if it makes a difference, it makes a difference. They're doing an interesting thing in NIT with foul situations. at the 10-minute mark, they wipe away all your personal fouls, and then you start over the next 10 minutes. To me, that would make more sense if we were playing quarters. So I think they need to make that move to playing quarter basketball. That mimics both high school. In the women's side, they're playing quarters now. I think in the that makes the game more manageable. It changes the game. It makes the game easier for coaches to manage, and to me, it makes it more exciting because you got in the quarter situation. You got. I know from a coaching standpoint, I hate playing 20-minute halves. I'd rather play. Personally, I like quarters. So some of those changes I think would be good to add into the NCAA. That selection process is just never going to be. I'm sure they continue to work on it, but like the guy said the other day, no matter what you do, we're going to leave somebody out who should have been in. This RPI rating is really messing up. This quad wins and all that kind of stuff. We need to find a way to standardize that. And like the guy was saying, how is it when you look at quality of wins and quad wins and RPI ratings that Alabama was ranked higher than some of the teams that got into the NCAA, but they didn't get in. And that's a good. I mean, and I don't know the answer to that. But I just think it's that's going to always be a controversy. That's going to always be. Hopefully they find a way to fix it, but I just don't think you're going to make everybody happy.
Well, see, I don't have a problem with it because they whatever they do, but they inviting 68 teams. Okay, that I can deal with. Okay, 6 to 8 teams. Okay, so you got a few that's going to be left, but this college football, no. I think they should have at least 8 to 10 teams to play. It could be as high as 12. I don't know, but it just seems like it just sucks. But
they come. Each year they're trying to make some adjustments. They're up against it. It's an impossible task. Again, you're gonna leave somebody out, and I don't know. Personally, I do not know if you can match football to basketball, where basketball do it and football can do it. I'm sure there's some dynamics. There are some similarities that you can do there because I do think they should have more teams. They talk about the season being longer. It doesn't matter, quite honestly.
They do a Division II, Division III.
But here's one of the things that you look at that I have not always considered is exam times and stuff. That kind of clogs that thing up a little bit because round and round, and you got to fit in exams and all that kind of situation. But I still think
have exams in Division II, Division III.
Yeah, but again, it's everybody's got to come to some conclusion, which I'm not sure you're going to see anytime soon. I mean, it seems so simple, and I've heard so many solutions that I think that me personally, I think would work. Makes sense to me. I mean, a layman on the outside, it kind of like, it's 1 + 1 is 2. I mean, why are we not doing that? And they come up with all these. So I said, you know what, guys, y'all work on that and let me know how it work out. Because I'm not working with that anymore. I really can't figure.
2 more things before we go. We didn't get a chance to do your sprint, but 2 more things before we go. The Vegas Summer League is now going to be international. They're going to invite China and some other teams to come and participate. I mean, some other country to come and participate in the Summer League. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hired their first female full-time coach.
Yeah, I heard that today, and I find that interesting because there are other females who are, I think there are 2 other females attached to NFL team, but they're on a part-time basis. It won't be long before we have our first female NBA coach and our first female NFL coach. I know that's where they're going, and all I can say is okay. I mean,
I can't really see it in the NFL. I can see it in the NBA, but I can't see it in the NFL.
I can probably live with it, but I'm telling you, it's coming. Now this Vegas thing, inviting those teams, I'm not sure I understand why we're doing that, other than marketing and then to brand the game, because the game, the NBA basketball overseas is huge.
Right.
It's very well received and all of that. I don't know now. You bringing yes, these kids are pro athletes, but they're you know excuse me, they're pro athletes, and the summer league is about developing and seeing young athletes and all of that. You bringing these teams in, these international teams in. I, I'm not sure I get that. I don't. I'd love to understand the reasoning behind that. What do you hope to accomplish from that? It maybe to excite the fan bases, maybe get more people, because I've been out to the NBA Summer League and it's packed, man. Out there in Vegas, I mean, it is. Woo. I mean, it's just. I mean, they got two gyms and they got games going on. There's people everywhere, so it can't be numbers unless I'm being deceived by the numbers I've seen. But to bring in the international market, I don't know. At a collegiate level, these guys are generally professional ball players. Although these are not college players anymore, they are still they're pro players. But I don't get it.
Okay. Well, I asked.
Personally,
I'm sorry. I asked Donnell to give me his
what does
Final
he say?
Four. He did.
Okay.
He said
Okay.
Tennessee, North Carolina, Gonzaga, and Duke. Okay. That's his Final Four. And
Okay.
University of who he abbreviated 10K people at Summer League is crazy everywhere. UNR.
He know about the stuff. He's out there.
Who is UNR? Because he said, I give UNR an outside shot. UNR. Who?
Them tell you who that is. I don't know who that is.
All right, Donnell, you got to tell us who UNR is.
And what's his take on the international?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, because that's my other sleeper. Nevada. That's my, yeah, he's right. That's my other sleeper. You know, I knew there was another team in there other than Buffalo, but
Nevada's, yeah, okay. Nevada got a shot. I must admit, I've watched them play. Nevada's impressive.
Yeah. So that was my other sleeper. So thank you. Yeah.
Did he have an opinion on the international ball players coming to Summer League?
No, but he said that it's crazy out there because he said at least 15,000 people at the Summer League camp. Yeah,
well,
so
he
said it's crazy. He said it's crazy every year.
Yeah, but the impact of bringing international players to that, what does he see any value in that? Or what? What's his? In my opinion, I don't see it. I don't understand why they're doing it.
He said, yeah. So, you know, like you said, that's the marketing, though. That's the marketing.
Yeah, but
that's
I understand marketing. That's why they take the teams over there and play in the various countries. I get that. But you invite them to play in the summer, unless you're gonna have an international summer league. I could see that. And maybe somehow where they play, but you're gonna mix them in with the regular NBA teams and let them play.
But hold on, wait a minute. Hey, somebody gave their opinion on Carmelo Anthony. Know what they said? He should go overseas. He can make some good money overseas.
He could. Well, yeah, because he could be an offensive player only, and they would pay him just to put the ball in the hole. Yeah, right. He doesn't have to play defense.
Okay. Before we get out of here, Donnell said Houston, which is interesting because UCF went to Houston and beat Houston at Houston. That was,
yes, they did.
I was like, UCF beat Houston, and they had the longest home court winning streak, and they beat them at Houston. So that was, I guess, one of those nights where the Knights basketball gods had lined up for them, I guess.
They played well. It was a good game. Then they went and lost to Temple, and which I was kind of surprised that they lost to Temple. But Houston playing some pretty good ball. That's another sleeper out there. If you want to call it a sleeper, Houston would be mine.
Right. Yeah, but I actually forgot about that Nevada. Yeah, You know, I should have put it in my notes, but yeah, that was the other sleeper that I was talking about. Well, that I wanted to bring up. That in Buffalo, because they were
Pollard
saying
has
those.
played well.
Huh? And he also said that it's an open game. The marketing will be crazy for the international players.
Yes, I agree, 100%. I get the marketing part of it, and if that's what it's about, then obviously it is what it is. It just the play to me to mix them in with the regular NBA to me doesn't seem to make sense. There's no parity there in my mind. But from a marketing standpoint and from a branding standpoint, it makes 100% sense. And that's what. So it's a good move in that particular instance. But I just think overall, I want to see how it plays out before I criticize it. I'm not going to criticize it. Let's see how it plays out.
Well, yeah, you're right, Donnell. It's going to be a great tournament, and I say there's going to be some upsets. And for those out there that's listening and watching, make sure that you check out Goose and Let the Ball Bounce. Check them out on Facebook. They got a whole bunch of crazy sports fans, and they even, I love it when they talk about the Dallas Cowboys, but they actually talk about some of everybody. So Let the Ball Bounce. They've been around for a while, so you make sure that you go to Facebook and check them out.
Yeah, Donnell, I might be out there this summer. I'll be looking for him.
Oh yeah. So
Couple players that going if they actually make it out there, then I might come out there to see them.
Oh, all right. Well, Vince, I'm happy you're feeling better. You look good. I don't know what the temperature is there, because today is the first day of spring. The first day of spring. Yay!
We down in, I think we're in the 40s tonight. We'll be up tomorrow in the 60s, and we'll come back down to the 30s, and then the next couple of days we're gonna start temperature starting to go up a little bit. It's comfortable though. It's very comfortable.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a little cool here for the Floridians. I love it because to me it's great fishing weather. But
Right.
as you know, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, the temperatures from now until later in the year are going to be in the 80s plus. So
Yeah. I'm looking for when I get down there for
that's
it to be in
typical
the
Florida
90s.
weather.
When I come down July, get in the 90s, so I'm good.
Yeah, because come April, all we gonna see is 80s on. So until October, until October,
We
November.
got a forecast of rain, which is going to kind of keep our temperatures down a little bit. It's not unusual for us to see a little smidget of cool air into early April. But pretty much out on the backside of April, starting into May, the temperatures start going up, because midsummer, boy, it's smoking up here. But at least what they call hot anyway.
Donnell said that he wanted to get you on the show. By the way, he said he wants you to come on the show, and he also said that University of Virginia is going down early. University of Virginia is going down early.
That's a good point. We tell him I might. I don't think they're going down early this year.
Oh, yeah. So, and actually, I think what he's saying, when you come to Vegas, he got to have you on the show. When you go to Vegas.
Tell him I look forward to it. It'll be my pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, Coach made it to the Final Four. What is it that your shirt say? I see state something. What is it that your shirt say?
State Tournament 2019 Division Boys, the AAA Division I Boys Basketball 2019 State Tournament, Brentwood Bruins.
All righty then.
And on the back of that is our slogan: "We all we got, we all we need."
That sounds like one of them sisters that don't want to deal with the brothers, but that's all right.
That's not where it came from.
She
don't
got
do
issues.
social media. We don't do social media. This is strictly a sport thing.
All right. With that being said, thank you, Donnell. You know, let the ball bounce. Check them out on Facebook. And we're here every Wednesday at 11 p.m. www.youthcentralsports, and also on Twitter, Facebook, and Periscope. So make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook. Everybody have yourself a blessed week. Thank you, Vince Carter, for being back with us. Happy that you're feeling better. You look good, and you stay warm. We'll be back next week. Blessings to you.
Looking for you.
And thanks, Goose.